Good afternoon, everyone. Sharice Hill here, president and founder of Events to Remember and PR to Remember with our Coffee with Cher. You know what I call them? I call them our sessions because this is intense stuff here that we're talking to amazing entrepreneurs about. So today's Coffee with Cher podcast session, I have the amazing Filomena Fanelli. She is the CEO and founder of Impact PR and Communications. Philomena, thank you for being here.
Therese, it is so much fun, and any excuse to have a cup of coffee with you is all right by me.
Oh, love it, love it, love it. So cheers, my friend. Cheers, cheers. So tell us about your mug.
So, this mug is from my days working with Hudson Valley News Network, which was a local news station. And
Mhm.
we ran a show called Business Newsmakers, where we sat down once a week with people who were making news and who were running businesses, sort of like you're doing right now, to hear tips and
Interesting.
tricks.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. So this I pulled out from the crates. This is Badass Miracle Worker Event Warrior. This and a heart on the handle. So this I ordered when we were like in the midst of the C word. I don't even want to say it, but we were
Hmm.
in the midst of that. It was like an industry fundraiser, and I love this mug. So I pull it out every now and then. So I pulled this out today to share coffee.
Girl, you earned that mug during the C word. So cheers to you
Yes,
and to
yes,
all the
yes.
business owners, to
Oh
all
my
the business
gosh,
owners who
right?
made it
For
through.
sure, for sure, for sure. All right, so speaking of business owners, so tell us about you. Tell us about, about Impact, how you got started. You just celebrated a big anniversary. I remember seeing that. So take us down that journey.
Yeah, I'd love to. So Impact PR just hit our 10 years in business last April. So we're, heading into year 11
Yeah.
here. But the fun thing is that I never thought I would be a business owner. I had no intention. I just fell in love with public relations, a little bit
Mhm,
like you.
mhm.
Enjoyed the work itself, but I've been doing that work for 26 years. It was,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, but it was only because I stepped away from it that I discovered that I wanted to run a business doing this. So
Mhm,
I spent the first 8.5 years working in New York City at a company called Rubenstein Associates, really prominent PR firm.
Yep.
Loved my career there. But then I had my first daughter. I have two girls. Had
Mhm.
my first daughter, and my husband also works in New York City. And I thought, there's no way both of us can be in this city with no family nearby with this tiny baby. So
Mhm.
I stepped off of that track,
Mhm.
thinking, well, there's no way I can do this thing I love at the same time.
Mhm.
But the universe had a way of working that out for me, Charisse. What wound up happening, because I organically love what I do, I was volunteering my skills for nonprofits in my community, sort of
Oh.
accidentally helping out and getting involved. Like I'd see a problem they were having, and I was like, oh, do you want a little help with that? Very
Mhm.
innocently, not thinking I was building a business or that I had some big scheme.
Mhm.
But what wound up happening is that businesses around me saw the work I was doing for these nonprofits
Mhm.
and chased after me and tried to hire me to help them.
Love
And
it.
that was where the business began. All of a sudden, I was invoicing 6 to 8 companies per month, multiple months in a row. And I
Mhm.
turned to my husband. I was like, "You're gonna think I'm crazy. I think I have a business idea here." And so Impact PR was born, and 10, 11 years later, here we are now.
That's amazing. And just, I know of you. You're one that I definitely admire because you're always kind of looking to kind of give back. So hearing your story, that totally makes sense. Like I could see you bouncing around, talking to people and, just that's your personality. So I definitely could see that happening. And that's a good start. I love that. I love that. That's great.
Yeah. Well, it's also proof that if you simply do the things you enjoy doing and you seek to help others, the universe will take care of the rest for you.
Yes. Yes.
It
Yes.
does.
It definitely does. So Phil, tell me what sets you apart from others in your industry? Like what makes Impact different?
I'm going to begin by saying because you just expressed some admiration for me.
Hmm.
I have deep admiration for the options that we have in our area and in our country for PR agencies, professional event planners, the
Hmm.
many different specialties that exist within all of us and the
Yeah.
talents that we have.
Hmm.
Our firm, one thing I think we do stay really true to is our expertise zone. We're
Hmm.
not afraid to say to someone if we think they would be better served with another agency or by adding in a partner or a friend of ours, including you.
Hmm.
So when I see that opportunity, I'm really transparent about where our zone of expertise is, which is truly in the earned media, storytelling, community building and sharing, the narrative and the heart of the story. That's what our passion is. That's where we shine. And
Hmm.
there are certain industries we work in. We don't just accept any and every PR client. And I think that
Hmm.
makes us special. We
Yeah.
really like to work in a few areas: real estate and construction,
Hmm.
banking and finance,
Hmm.
hospitality, tourism, like food, bev,
Yeah.
and nonprofits. And those are the main areas we stick to. And we only get involved if we really think we're going to add value and
Hmm.
solve a problem for someone. And
Hmm.
if not, there's where those other great agencies can also be lifted up and we can be a friend to our fellow community members. But the other thing that I think sets us apart is our dynamic. We have a really incredible team.
Hmm.
Um, and what's cool is that I think we do incredible work. And I'm not saying that in a braggy way. I'm
Hmm.
really proud of our team and what we accomplish. We're fun to work with. We do what we do with a smile.
Hmm.
We team up, we collaborate, we have laughs. I think you can kick ass and still do it with a smile.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I just said ass on your podcast, but here we go. Too early for that.
You definitely can. And I agree with that. I mean, I remember someone reached out to me for a project and it was and I'm the same way. It's like, I know what we do really, really well. Like, I know where we kick ass, right? And I know where it's like, that's not really in my wheelhouse. And I remember someone reached out for something and I touched base with you and you were like, that's not really where I specialize. Try this person. So I think that's really, doing things like that, that collaboration, that willing to share, that there's enough room for everyone in this space. I feel like those are some of the tools that really creates that longevity, right? I feel like that's why, we've been around, you've been around for a long time. It's kind of leading with that at heart, you know?
Yeah, and trust is the most important thing you can offer your current customers or even
Mhm.
potential ones out there. And
Mhm.
that's a sacred thing. You don't want to break that trust.
Yeah.
And so by being honest about where you shine and how you can help and when they'd be better served with someone else,
Mhm.
you're really bolstering your own reputation.
Yeah, no, definitely, 100%. All right, so Philomena, anything new, anything exciting happening at Impact?
Well, I'm in public relations, Cherie, so there's always something new and there is always something exciting. And that's the hardest part of the job and also the best. Every
Yeah.
day is an adventure.
Different. Yeah.
Yeah. But one fun thing is that we've been doing work in more and more states, helping clients in Colorado and South Carolina and New
Nice.
Jersey. So that's been really fun, and a lot more of those in 2025.
That's exciting. I love that for you.
Thanks.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's been good.
That's exciting. All right, so this is my last question, and this is my favorite question because when I created this podcast, I really wanted a way to kind of give back to other entrepreneurs. Like, I love being an entrepreneur. I know you do too, but it's tough. There's days where you just want to pull your hair out. So if we can like inspire, if we can, create some joy, if we can kind of get some ideas generating for someone. So a little bit of advice you would share, maybe someone new who's just starting out, maybe someone who's thinking about taking the leap into the entrepreneurship journey, or maybe it's someone who has been in business and they're really kind of, hitting a wall and need some advice. Any of those, whatever you want to share.
Oh gosh, I have multiple tips. I'm going to give you
Okay.
three of my favorite
All right, good. We'll
that I
take
would give to anybody who either has started a business and is trying to grow it or has maybe hit a little, to your point, it's not always a linear journey.
yeah.
There are some years that are harder than others, or some months where you're like you can't even see the path forward, right? And
Hmm.
that's the
Yeah.
real story.
Yeah.
One thing I would say is that the seeds you plant today don't always bloom tomorrow, but they do
Mm.
bloom eventually. So it's those small, tiny actions, planting the seeds, that is the most important part. And I actually have an example to share here.
Okay.
One thing that I recommend to a lot of businesses is sharing tips and advice around what they do and sharing it freely. So,
Hmm.
one thing I love doing is speaking with audiences, doing seminars,
Hmm.
workshops, heading on podcasts like yours.
Yeah.
And when we do that, we're sharing our knowledge. But it doesn't mean that overnight the people who are in the room are going to call you up and hire you. In
Hmm.
fact, that's often not the case. But one time I did a speaking engagement for Duchess Tourism, and
Hmm.
it was several years ago. And I was cleaning out my desk and I looked down and I pulled out a sheet, and it was a list of the attendees who were in that set. It was about 5 years later. Do you know, I went through that list, and
Hmm.
several people on that list had, in some shape or form, done business with us or referred us to someone who
Wow.
did.
Love
And it
that.
was very telling because it did not happen right after the seminar.
Yeah.
It did not happen in year 1 or 2. It was
Hmm.
3, 4, and 5 years
Yeah.
later. Somebody's just starting out and they're like, I'm doing the right things, but I'm not getting anywhere. You may just have to give it the time and keep planting the seeds and having faith that the harvest, it will come.
I
So
love that. That's such great advice.
it
Such
is
great
so
advice.
true. I've seen it now because I have been around long enough to see that
Yeah.
doing the right things does matter. You just have
Hmm.
to do them consistently and over time,
Yeah.
not get sidetracked if it's not immediate. I will also tell you, relationships are everything.
Hmm.
And I'm not talking about just relationships with, the top person at the company you're dealing with or your very best customer, but all the people at all the levels. And you'd be surprised how those relationships matter over time and do lead to growing your business or having an awesome support network.
Hmm.
So, Sharice, you and I belong to an organization through PRSA. Well, we're both very active in PRSA,
Yeah.
PRSA West Fair, PRSA Counselors Academy. And that has been a source. Those relationships with my peers in the industry have been a great source of strength, support, laughter, even. And I think that's so essential. If you go into a business, you're going to need some angels on your shoulder.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
build that network of angels is my other advice. And last but not least, I have one more. And this is actually, I'm going to quote someone else who owns a business in Westchester. Do
Okay.
you know Fran Hauser? And if you don't, that's okay.
The
But
name sounds familiar. What's the business? I might know.
she's an author, a bookstore owner, an investor, an entrepreneur herself. She does a lot of angel investing.
Okay.
Really talented public speaker and author, about nice girls in business, how you can be a nice girl and still be successful.
Love
She's
that.
such a cool woman. I subscribed to her newsletter, and I
Hmm.
was just reading it this morning before we had our coffee
Uh-huh.
session here. And she had a bit of advice, and I'm going to pass it along to all of you because I live this advice, and I'm
Okay.
telling everyone out there it works. And especially if you're hitting a rough patch, but
Hmm.
even when you're not, please do this.
Hmm.
She recommends that you say yes to the random stuff.
Mm.
Where all you hear about is no's and boundaries, and those can be important too.
Hmm.
But saying yes without an agenda, without looking for an immediate reward, it could be that coffee date or that virtual coffee date.
Hmm.
It could be attending the event when you're tired and
Hmm.
aren't sure you have it in you to go network that day.
Hmm.
Keep saying yes to the random stuff without looking for the immediate payback. By virtue of getting yourself out there, you'll meet the next person, you'll have the next cool idea or be inspired, or you'll just get that recharge in the batteries that you need to forge forward.
I love that. That is such great advice, and it's real advice too. How many days where it's like you have, I'm very active in BCW, the Business Council of Westchester. There's days where it's like, oh, we had this networking. I should go. I don't feel like going. I'm a little beat up today, but it's like, nope. Let me throw on that lipstick. Let me fluff up the hair. Let's do it. And then you go and you have a great time and you make a great connection. It's like, I'm glad that I kind of pushed through. So I
Yeah.
love that. I love all of the gems that you share with our listeners.
It is sort of like exercise. Usually you don't leave the gym regretting the workout, but getting there is the hardest part.
Yes, yes. For
Say
sure.
yes to yourself. Believe in yourself. Say yes.
Yes, 100%. Well, this was amazing. Thank you, friend, for being here. How can everyone find you?
Oh, well, you can find me in all the places, Cherie. So, personally, you can find me at Filomena Fanelli on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. That's where I'm most active. But you
Hmm.
can also find Impact PR and Communications on the web
Hmm.
at www.prwithimpact, the word with spelled out,
Hmm.
.com. You can find us on Facebook, on Instagram, and LinkedIn, where we're also most active
Hmm.
at PR with Impact or Impact PR. And we look forward to continuing the conversations. And remember, too, even if you're in my space, come say hello, come find me because you never know. I might just be calling you or referring you out.
Yeah, she's awesome. Well,
Plenty to
thank
go
you,
around.
friend. Thank you for being here, and I will see you around town soon at some point, I'm sure.
Yes, because we're saying yes. So we'll say yes to all the stuff.
Awesome. Thank you for
Okay,
being
see
here. I'll
you
talk to
there.
you soon.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks for having me.
thanks.